Hello. Yeah, we are still waiting for one of the chief guests to come in. So we're going to start it in less than 2 minutes. And for those who are still watching us from YouTube, we'll be again starting in 2 minutes. Because of the rain, we are delaying the start of our event. So in 2 minutes, we'll get started. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for braving the storms and showing up tonight. Welcome to the Florida DSSG Big Reveal event. Really, when I think back, it's like this is our 8th year of doing this event. I'm really humbled and really just appreciative of all the people that help make this happen every year. And so we want to welcome you tonight. My name is Dan Richard. I'm a professor in the Department of Psychological and Brain Sciences, and I co-direct the Data Science for a Social Good program with my colleague, Karthik.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Thank you. My name is Dr. Karthik Mapati. Those who don't know me, I go by Karthik. So, and I'm co-director for the Florida Data Science Social Good program and professor at School of Computing. So we're going to quickly do introductions of different people involved with our program. So first, we would like to thank our advisory board members. So again, you can see the representative organizations, Matt Bassart, who is the founder and CIO from NLP Logic, and Adverse Legal, Gwen from Adverse Legal. So they provide counseling, legal counseling for all the technology companies in our area. So they also support us. And then other two big players in our area, Jaguars and PGA. So Ari, who is the VP for data science from Jaguars, and Mike Whitty, who's the VP for, again, decision sciences in PGA too. So they all support us both with time, money, and most importantly, advices that we need to scale and grow our program. So then the other help we need is the experience and their time along with it. So to be successful in what we do. So as academic sense, we are good in coaching, good in training, but not necessarily keeping up with all the constant and fast changes that happens with different techniques and different ways to use those techniques. So for that, we heavily rely on our industry partners as well as our academic partners. So you can see, I'm not going to read all of their names. You can see many of them here, and many of them have been with us from get-go, and some of them have joined us later on. And some of them have graduated from our program, from UNF and the other universities they came from, and then came back as mentor and giving us their experience and time. And also we reach out to our many professors within UNF and around our area for their subject matter expertise too. So we thank for all of them. They meet with us every other week, and they listen to what the interns are working on, and then they provide feedback. And many things you're going to see is definitely a result of their feedback, right? So now, the main people, the reasons why all of us choose to fight the storm outside and come down here. So first, we have 8 interns this year, and many of them are UNF, and then we have from Jacksonville University, FIU Miami, and USF Tampa, South Florida, Tampa. So let me say a few things about each of them. So first, Bryce, so he's in UNF, Psychological Sciences, Masters, so he has a few more months to, semesters to finish up from the Master's program. So, but after that, he is going to look into, he has decided to go into PhD, and he's going to do a doctorate on it. He already even decided on the issues to work with. Arts education is the project he's working on, and that is the issue is also of his interest, and he's going to do a PhD on the similar issue that he's working on. Right? Then next we have Faisal. So he is a statistics student, master's. He is from Bangladesh. So he's going to be available for work after he graduates. But after that, he does have a long-term plan to go back to Bangladesh and start his own company on data and area to help the public sector in Bangladesh. Right? Then we have Sneha, who is computer science master's in UNF School of Computing, and she has 2 more semesters to graduate. And after that, she will be looking for data science area, and she also has interest in working full-time job in public sector areas. Then you have Ayman from Tampa, South Florida. She's already in AI Business Analytics program. She will be graduating from that soon, and she also will be available for full-time opportunities in AI data science field. Right? Then Arias is from Jacksonville University, born and grew up in Jacksonville area. So, but he's undergraduate, computer science. He still has 1 year to academic year to go through. So again, he's still figuring out what to do. So again, he will be available for job opportunities after he graduates. Right? So then Kushal, who is also a computer science UNF master's student. So again, he also has 1 more academic year to finish. And then he will be also graduating and will be looking for job opportunities in data science and AI area. So he will be working on LISC Jacksonville project, and he will be doing master thesis on that problem in the fall and the spring semester. Right? And then Shashank is from FIU Miami. So I guess for this year, is the person longest distance coming in. Last year, we had someone from South Dakota come in. So Shashank also is already in the AI field, AI data science master's degree program. He also will have a few more months and then graduate and looking for full-time job opportunities in AI and data science. Then Safi from mathematical sciences in UNF Masters. So her long-term career is to do PhD in mathematical sciences and then become a college professor, right? So that's her long-term thing. So again, we will be hearing soon from them about them. And you will see after they talk that they are all direct to hire skills individuals. So that means they have been well coached already. So with that, we're going to take a few more minutes to cover a few things that someone might not have heard us speaking before. So what is exactly is data science for social good, and what is Florida data science for social good? So first, data science, it starts there. So to say it in a very simplistic way, we have a lot of data around us, going through it, finding the patterns, and the patterns, some of them will be just an obvious one, and then many of them will be not so obvious. So finding that not so obvious one, and using the obvious one to verify that it is correct, and then start driving insights from that non-obvious ones, right? So doing that is data science. And for data science for social good, we're doing that to help public sector and the nonprofit organizations to drive their mission goals. So while doing that, we are providing experiential learning opportunities for our students and the students around Florida to train them, coach them to become data scientists. So we pretty much do things that we cannot do inside a classroom, meet with them on a daily basis from 9 to 1 p.m., and then really going through in detail of how exactly they should be approaching the problem one by one, right? So our motto is converting our students into social trustees of knowledge. So today we are definitely here to hear about one program, the summer internship, which just happens over the summer months. We usually do it as 12-week program. This year we doing it as 11 weeks program. So again, summer internship is about coming up with quick data science solutions for a specific problem that has been scoped well. Then we have a lot of unscoped problem, right? So that we do as year-long project. So we mainly work with our graduate students, both from psychology and computing there. So here, most often the problem is not clear. We kind of explore, make sense out of it, and then help guide the organization. Some of it we try to include with our courses, but many of it is the granted projects that we do. Apart from that, we do a few events. Hackathon is one of those events we do. We do fall hackathon for college students, and then we do spring hackathon for high school students. And then in summer, we collaborate with local industries and do hackathon for working professionals and students working along with them. Right? And then we also do podcast where we bring in people from outside who have interesting experience solving interesting problem. We kind of talk with them, have conversations with them to unravel their interesting experiences. So with that, I would like to, Dr. Richard to really explain what we do in the summer.
Thanks, Karthik. So we're talking about the summer internship program, and what we do for this program, as Karthik mentioned, that the projects need to be really scoped very carefully. So because we are only doing 11 weeks, we only have the students for so much time. So we try to do our best to make sure we can have a project that they can complete within that 7 weeks. I know some of them might say, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" But we do our best. So the way we do our work is we first look and invite applications from the nonprofit sector or public serving organizations. They come to us and let us know what are they working on, what are the issues that they're facing, and then what data that they have to address what we call wicked problems. So these are problems that are very difficult to solve, that can't be solved by one organization or one project, but we are committed to seeing change in our society around those issues. And so we partner with them. We kind of come up with a plan for the summer. If they don't have data, sometimes we'll go out to public sources of data and help them kind of coordinate and bring that information in. Our students work very hard analyzing that information over the summer, and then the ultimate goal then is to provide this big reveal, these insights that go back to the nonprofit organization to help them do their job successfully. So we're all about capacity building within the public sector and providing that training for emerging data scientists. So that's how we do our summer work. We've been doing this, as I said, this is our 8th year doing the Big Reveal event and doing the summer internship. we started working since 2017. Since then, we've worked with over 31 nonprofit organizations, and not just in Duval County, but all across the state of Florida. And our particular approach is collaborative problem solving. So we want students and our interns, our community partners, our mentors coming from different perspectives so that we can share and try to figure out what's going on with these very complex problems. And so as you can see, yes, we've worked with interns both. Many of them are from UNF, but we work with students really all across the country. And, but most of them are from Florida. And we do work with both master's students as well as some PhD students and some undergraduate students as well. So we bring all of those students together. Now, our program was based off of a data science for social good program that started at University of Chicago. Then other organizations started kind of growing out of that. Right now, we've done some research looking at those organizations and looking at how many interns they had from what disciplines and that sort of thing. So we get this to go. There we go. Yeah, so it was first started by University of Chicago, but not all the programs have continued every year. Some start, stop, restart programs. We've been in a very fortunate position to continue to offer the program every year through the support of those who provide funding for the interns and also the mentors to help out with our interns. So we've been really fortunate in that way. So given that, the University of North Florida Data Science for Social Good program is the third longest running program, not just in the United States, but in the world, right? Like we are doing this and we keep doing this because of the support that you all have. Thank you. So how do we get all this done? Well, we have to fundraise. We have to get sponsors to come in and support us. We have been consistently sponsored by the University of North Florida, providing resources for students to work over the summer. Also, this year, Cathedral Arts Project provided a gold level sponsorship, and LISC Jax. Those are our project partners who are providing funds for the students. It's not required, but these organizations said, hey, this is good ground. We want to invest in these projects and in DSSG. We also have silver sponsors of Jaguars, NLP Logics, and the Nonprofit Center, which is one of our community partners. And then our bronze sponsors, PGA Tour and Advos Legal. Advos provides a lot of legal advice for companies that do AI work. So that's kind of a preview of how we do things and what's ahead of us for this evening. Before we get into the student presentations, we'd like to invite Dr. Parvez Ahmed from the Mayor's Office to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor Deegan wanted to be here, but you have to make do with me. So today I want to speak to you not just as students, but as not just as students, but as future change makers, architects of a more just, informed, and compassionate society. As students, you're entering a world on the cusp of seismic shifts: climate change, widening inequality, AI transformations, public health crisis. And yet within your reach lies one of the most powerful tools to confront these challenges: data. So let me be clear. Data is not just numbers on a spreadsheet or points on a graph. Data is a story. Data is power. And data, when used wisely, can unify an otherwise polarized society. Why? Because good data is the beginning of good governance. Unfortunately, too often we hold our public and nonprofit sector to a lower standard than we hold our businesses. But the stakes in the public sector is just as high, if not higher. We know that the best-run companies survive because they adapt, measure, and improve. Why shouldn't the public sector and the nonprofit sector do the same? As Mayor Donna Deegan said in our recent budget address, and I quote, "Momentum is on our side." She was talking about our city of Jacksonville. She's right. Jacksonville today is now home to 1 million+ people, making us one of the fastest growing cities in the country. If our current growth trend continues, If our current growth trend continues, we would add another 500,000 people by the year 2050. That's only 25 years from today. A staggering 50% increase in our population. Growth like this is a test. If we plan wisely, it's a blessing. If we don't, it becomes a burden. So here is the truth. Growth alone does not guarantee opportunities for all. Because today in Jacksonville, 46% of renters are cost-burdened, meaning they spend more than 30% of their income on housing. In some neighborhoods, life expectancy is well over 10 to 12 years lower than in other neighborhoods in the city. Nearly 1 in 4 households lack affordable primary care health care, leading to increased emergency room visits and worsening chronic conditions. Many families live one flat tire or one emergency room bill away from financial crisis. These are not just statistics. These are the stories of our neighbors, the many untold stories beneath the surface of citywide averages. So let me tell you a story of one such neighborhood, East Side, one of Jacksonville's oldest neighborhoods, just 2 miles away from where we are today. For decades, its East Side has been struggling, marked by higher poverty rates, lower life expectancy, and underinvestment in its people. But such disparities weren't measured, and we know what isn't measured often does not receive the attention it should. So I have analyzed census-level tract data and found a heartbreaking but not surprising nugget of information. The median life expectancy gap is nearly 18 years between East Side and a neighborhood right across the river. 18 years, you ask, what is 18 years? That's the difference between seeing your children graduate from college. That's the difference between walking your daughter down the aisle or never getting the chance to do so. But here is the hopeful part. Now that we know the data, we can fix that. And I hope that will change. And I'll introduce to you one of the initiatives that we are working on right now. This takes a couple of clicks to get going. Here it is. We are about to launch the State of Jax initiative. And I want to acknowledge somebody in the audience today for being the inspiration for this initiative. It is our UNF president, Dr. Limayam. Dr. Limayam, when he was the dean at the College of Business at USF, he started a similar initiative that became an inspiration to our initiative in Jacksonville. This initiative is going to be a unique coalition aiming to conduct data-driven research to identify, measure, report, and propel Jacksonville's progress toward shared economic, educational, health, and cultural goals. With the State of Jax and the new transparency dashboards at the City of Jacksonville, we are building an infrastructure for real evidence-based progress, real-time metrics on procurement, on budgeting, on permitting, on neighborhood health are now all accessible to the residents of Jacksonville. Transparency is not a buzzword, it's a tool for empowerment. And you as students, as civic tech leaders, you are stepping into a moment that needs you desperately. The world does not need more coders. What the world needs is more conscience behind the code. As the late Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. So now we know better. We know that in Jacksonville, okay, so in Jacksonville, here is one of the data dashboards that we are looking at. In Jacksonville, life expectancy on average is 2.5 years lower than the state or national average. Now that we know the data, what should we do about it? That's the question that should consume us, whether we are in city government, whether you are in academia, in the nonprofit sector, or in the world of business. So the question before you is, what can you do with data like this so that all of us are made better by the information in front of us? So this is what I will leave you with, a few words of advice. When we look at a data like this, don't just stop at the data. Ask the secondary question: what should we do with this data? Don't just accept dashboards that flatten nuance or overlook the uncomfortable truths. Build models that are ethical. Let your data reflect the people, not just categories or stereotypes. Collaborate across your boundaries, because the most effective solutions are often at the intersection of technology and passion. Be courageous. Progress will rattle entrenched systems, but that's okay. Speak with truth, but with integrity, and let the data lead you wherever the conclusions may take you. So in my conclusion to you, Jacksonville is a city of promise. We are pulsing with growth, but we are also layered with complexity. However, we are charting a new way forward, guided by data, informed by community, and driven by opportunity for all. And this is where you come in, as students, as aspiring data scientists. You are not the audience for this change. You are its authors. The dashboards you create, the models you train, the insights you uncover, they are not just technical outputs. They are the bridges. They are the levers of justice, and they are the instruments of hope. So today, let's go beyond theory. Let's experiment, let's collaborate, and let's code with a conscience. Let's turn data into determination, insight into impact, and knowledge into action. So I will leave you with this quote from Steve Jobs. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones to do it. So I hope that you are the good kind of crazy people that will indeed change our world for the better. Thank you. And now it is my honor to invite the first team to do their big reveal, the team from Lisk.
Thank you, Mr. Parvez, and good afternoon, everyone. I am Ashrafi Yasmin. Me and my team are going to present our project, Mapping the Great Wealth Transfer to Women. So first of all, let's see what statistics says about homeowner based on gender. So according to Pew Research in 2022, among 35.2 million homes, 58% are owned by single women, including widows. So a large amount of women inherits house. But often, they do without legal documentation. So let's see how it looks like in real life with a story. Though the story is fictional, the issue is based on real life scenarios that a lot of homeowners faced in our city. So the story is about Miss Gloria. She lives in her house that she inherits from her parents. So she living there for decades. She's raising her family there, but unfortunately, her name was never on the deed. So now she wants to pass that house to her 2 children. But without legal documentation, she might not be able to do that. So that is where our partner, Lisk, comes in. So they actually focused on equity and opportunity to protecting the generational wealth to secure families like Miss Gloria, and they can secure their houses and pass to their next generation. They invested $29.7 billion nationwide to this initiative. And LISC Jacksonville chapter, they invested $132 million in our local community to secure the housing and stability of homeowners. So let's go back to our story about Miss Gloria. So we can see the pattern here. So many women like Gloria hold the property informally. So here the risk comes in. Without documentation, the wealth is at risk. So now the question, or the wicked problem we can say, how do we identify the affected homeowners like Miss Gloria? Our project is actually aiming for that, so that families like Miss Gloria's, they can secure their wealth and pass it to their future generation. So that's why we need strong data sources. And now I'm going to pass the mic to my teammate Kushal, and he's going to walk you through all the data sources and methodology. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ashrafi. Now, these are the 4 main data sources we have used in our project. The first one is the property data, which contains all partial level information of the property, like the partial ID and the property owner name and the property address, and the tax data. To know this, we have performed the web scraping on the property appraiser office website and extracted the taxable value from it. But what is our main wicked problem is focused on? It is great women wealth transfer. For this, we need the gender of the property owners, but we don't have any kind of gender information in our property data. So while we are discussing this problem with some of our mentors, and one of our mentors gave a big idea that the voter registration data contains the individual level demographic information of the persons. So we have also provided us the most recent data set of the voter registration, which is year of 2024, and the census data, which contains the area and the neighborhood level demographic information and the income of the householder of the property. Then here comes the methodology. Firstly, we have begun with matching the voter registration data and the partial information. We have extracted the extracted the gender from the voter registration data, and we have joined to the partial information. And we have calculated the tax by using the taxable value which we have web scraped from the property appraiser office website and the millage rate of the city. And then for the unmatched data, we have used some machine learning models to have the gender by using the property owner name. And the integration of the census data I have done after all this. And by using all this data, we have created the Tableau dashboard. And here comes a big challenge. How we are going to match the voter registration data and the property data? When we are thinking about how to match the voter registration data and partial data, we see the two columns as similar in both the data sets. One is the name and the address. And when we looked in the name column in the property data, we have seen that it has ended with some of the legal terms like estate, life estate, and the family trust kind of things. So we have removed all the legal terms, and then we split the name into first, last, and the middle name. And then when we looked into an address column, it is two different in both the data sets. So first we used the US address package to do it in the same format, and then we trying to match the order registration data and the partial information. And then we pulled the gender column in the order registration data and joined to the partial information. We finally, by this process, we have matched almost 15,982 genders from the order registration data. Thank you. Now I am inviting the Faisal to join with us.
Thank you, Kushal. Now let's delve deeper into the matched parcel and the gender information that we already have extracted from here. So from our merge data, we can see that we have gender information about 15,982. And among them, we can also see 8,322 are male, 7,416 are female, and rest of them are unknown. That's great, but here still comes the new challenge. We still have 17,984 unmatched parcel. Those parcels we could not connect with the voter data. So here comes the big question, what to do or how can we know their gender? That's where our help comes. We searched and some methodology. We went for methodology that can help us in predicting gender using name, specifically first name or full name. So here comes the paid model API that gives us the projection of gender using names. But they have some serious issues, like they are limited to number of requests per day or per month, and they are costly. So we wanted to make a model that will help Lisk and LISC Jax about such kind of help that can free flow their data and it would be secured. So we found a free model that is GenderR. So what is GenderR and how it works? GenderR is a free model that works based on first name, and you can see though its accuracy seems 86%, a little bit less than those paid model, but when we validate it with our own 15,982 parcel data that we have gender information, we saw that we have almost 94% accuracy now. So you can see there is a boost up of accuracy in GenderR model. So here what happens is that our GenderR model, it is mainly trained on the basis of US Social Security Administration data. And we are working with the data that is level up with parcel data and the voter data. So here is the case that we have much match and correlation between the data and the model. That's why the accuracy of GenderR increases. So we decided to make our model with GenderR, and here you can see now we have 17,984 unmatched parcel. So for this unmatched parcel, we predicted the gender. So according to GenderR, now we can see we have male 8,852, female 7,810, and rest of them are unknown. So now we have gender for the whole data set, that is 33,000 parcels. Now what we need to do? Now the next part, that is data integration. Now we integrate our property data with gender, age, and the census data. Not working. Yeah. So now we merged our property data, gender, age, and census data according to parcel number, so that we can have a master data file. This master data file will include all of this data and make a leverage on our data set so that we can have all the information together for our analysis. Thank you, everyone. Now I would like to include Sneha to come and show our final product. Thank you.
Thank you, Faisal. Now, by using this process data, we developed two targeted dashboards. One is zip code level dashboard and the other one is census demographic dashboard. Zip code level dashboard helps us identify the housing patterns and pinpoint areas in the dual county which might fall under higher risk property issue. Census demographic dashboard helps us identify the neighborhoods which might need the help based on demographics and housing pattern characteristics. Now I'll walk you through a data-driven visualization approach we used to identify and prioritize the areas in the dual county. Now, let's get into the Tableau demo. We have developed a targeted dashboard. We have developed this interactive Tableau dashboard with the count of parcels and housing patterns. Now, let's break down this heat map by gender and home type. Let's select female. Upon the selection of female, we'll be able to see the count of parcels across the zip codes. Now, let's break down this by home type. We can select any home type which are required. Now, let's select single family home. Single family home, just single family home. Yeah. Now, based on this selection, now we'll be able to see the concise count of parcels and in this category across the zip codes. Now, let's focus on two zip codes, 32218 and 32209. Upon the selection, now we'll be able to see the exact count of parcels which are owned by women and which are under higher risk issues. Now we can also see the calculated tax and taxable value in the top right corner getting adjusted based on our selection criteria. So with this level of interaction, now LISC should be able to identify the zip codes and neighborhoods which might really need the help. And it will also help them focus their resources and time and work with the local service providers to help the homeowners and stabilize the neighborhoods. Now let's get back to the PPT. Here are the few key findings. Based on the voter data and gender R model, we are able to find the female-owned properties. We have also incorporated census data and provided the demographic profiles to LISC to help them in marketing and educational planning. With all this data, we were now able to identify the targeted zip codes which may fall under higher risk property issue. Coming to the recommendations, here when we are doing the project, we found that few of the homeowners are not aware of the tax exemptions. Now, we would recommend LISC to identify the properties through the dashboard and help the homeowners to work and apply to the tax exemptions which they are really qualified for. Campaignings can be done based on the selection of the targeted zip codes. And finally, coming to the when we are trying to see the property appraisal office data, we found sale history. Now, we recommend LISC to identify and do some analysis on sale data, which will help them analyze the long-held properties which might fall under higher risk consultation. So, after doing all this, in this project, we observed that how public data helps to maintain the local community wealth and help the future generations to thrive in the homes they love to live. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Cathedral Arts team to demonstrate the project.
Thank you, Stan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bryce, and today I'll be introducing our partnership with the Cathedral Arts Project for 2025. This year, we were tasked with gauging the impact of arts education programs in the K-12 schools here in Duval County. So, what is the Cathedral Arts Project, or CAP for short? CAP is a nonprofit organization centered around providing arts access to students who otherwise may not have it. Their mission includes advocating for and providing said arts access, supporting arts teachers in their fields, and empowering every child's creative spirit. Through this mission, they've been enriching the lives of students for over 32 years, having served over 40,000 students and counting. So, What's one example of this impact? This is Lillian, and she's one of those 40,000 kids. She had the opportunity to learn how to play the viola in a second grade CAP music program. Learning and playing music kept her engaged and in school, and as a result, she went on to become a first-generation high school graduate, and later, a student here at UNF. Swoop. As it did for Lillian, the arts can bridge gaps, connect people, and support student success. But how does CAP track their impact? As part of their advocacy, CAP created the Landscape for Education in the Arts in Duval survey, or LEAD for short. This survey is designed to track the development of arts programs in our county, and as such is sent to the principals of each school. The survey has 5 main dimensions: access, governance, funding, engagement, and last but not least, quality. So, what do we do with this data? Well, thanks to the hard work of the DSSG interns partnered with CAP in 2024, CAP was able to launch the Principal of the Arts Award, dedicated to celebrating principals who incorporate the arts in their schools. Earlier this year, Principal Begley from the Samuel Wolfson School for Advanced Studies was the first recipient of this award, and here you can see him receiving it. So, earlier this year in the spring, CAP sent the LEAD survey out to all Duval County public schools, and once the principals had sent their responses in, they then shared this data with us where we processed it to create the STAR report. The STAR report evaluates schools based on their arts programs and places them into one of 4 categories. Today, we're going to share some of those results with you, but be on the lookout for when CAP announces the Principal of the Arts Award winner for 2025. So here on the left, you'll notice the STAR report results for elementary schools in 2024. And the first thing you'll notice is those 4 categories I was talking about. Blossoming schools are those who support the arts, but may need a little more general support. Achieving schools are those who offer good arts programs, but may need a little more targeted support. Elevating schools offer great arts programs and opportunities for their students. And flourishing schools are the shining stars, providing the best in both access and opportunity to their students. So, here on the right, you'll see the STAR report results for 2025. We saw some changes in the percentages across the board, but by far the biggest change was a 10% increase in the amount of schools who were flourishing. You'll also notice that the amount of schools in the elevating and achieving categories did go down. However, those ended up moving into the flourishing category. This exciting increase suggests that the landscape of arts education in Duval is improving, and that CAP has been leading the way in support of our local schools' arts programs. So, CAP has been collecting this data for years, first introducing the LEAD survey in 2019. In 2022, they partnered with DSSG to rework the LEAD survey to better fit the needs of Duval County. And in 2023, the STAR report was created. In 2024, CAP was able to launch their Arts Field Trip initiative as a result of past collaboration between CAP and DSSG. Resulting from this, CAP was able to find the support and funding to launch this initiative. This initiative has sent over 5,000 Duval County students on an arts field trip. This work creates meaningful and visible change that you can see for yourself on the faces of these excited kids. So, this year our first mission was to create the STAR report for 2025. However, we had another wicked problem. CAP has been collecting this data for years, but they wanted to know, what are the real-world impacts of arts access? And to better understand those impacts, I now hand things over to my partner, Umaiman.
Thank you, Bryce. Now let's start by talking about the data. We are collecting data from 2 different data sources. One is Department of Education and other one is the LEAD survey. Once we collect the data, we group them into 2 types. One is programs. wherein we have dimensions like access, physical spaces, programs offered, and others. For the outcomes, we have attendance, achievements, and others. Once we have this data, we faced one challenge, which was school names. As many of us might have known, that school name changes, and it might be different in different data sets. To make sure that we have the same school all the years, we standardize the school names. Once we had the data in place, we moved to the next step, which was analysis. For our analysis, we divided the schools into 3 different categories. The first one was elementary, second being magnet, and the third one is middle and high schools. For each of these categories, we identified outliers. For discrete variables, we recoded them. For continuous variables, we used 1.5 interquartile range to truncate them. After this step, we used baseline approach to find z-scores for each year, for each dimension, and for each school type. This helped us to understand school standing relative to its peer group. Once we have this data, we used average to get a holistic view of the school with the overall years. After that, we reduced the dimension for arts programs by using principal component analysis. This helped us to identify main factors which contributes to deviation in the program variables. The next step was clustering. We used k-mean algorithm to find profiles for schools having similar patterns. We also performed correlation, which helped us understand the relation between programs and outcome variables. Today, I'm excited to share our findings with. In this chart, we can see elementary schools which have 2 profiles. One is creative options. These are the schools which offer a wide variety of programs. The second profile is partners for success. These are schools which often partners with community and offer arts program. In both of these clusters, we can see when they offer no arts program, the achievement rate is lower. However, when they start offering courses in creative options, we see there is a stability of 50%. On the other hand, when we talk about partners for success, we see an increase in achievement as they offer more arts programs. With this, we can conclude that providing arts programs not only helps in creativity, but also in their academic journey. Moving on to the next important finding. We have arts programs have a positive impact on the attendance. In this chart, we can see how by offering a diverse range of programs can help not only in the achievement, but also in the attendance. The third important finding was community events. Schools can partner with communities to provide exhibitions or school-based performances, which can help students develop overall. And this can be seen in their academic grades. With these findings, we would like to recommend few of the things to our schools. In the previous year, we have observed that field trips plays an important role in overall development of the student. And as it continues to do so, we highly encourage schools to offer wide range of arts programs, as we have shown that it has an impact on achievement as well as attendance. Moreover, we also have data to prove that community-based engagement opportunities given to the students have positive impact on their overall growth. We applaud to all the schools who have participated and completed the LEAD survey, and we highly encourage them to continue to do so. We also request CAP to standardize the school names as it helps in merging and analyzing the data. CAP, alongside with dual county public schools and principals, have all worked together. And today, we can see the meaningful impact. I wish and I hope that they continue this journey together and make a difference. Thank you. Now, I would like to call upon Shashank to guide us about nonprofits.
Thank you, Ayman. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shashank Subhash, along with my teammate Ilis Misa. We are working on identifying indicators of nonprofit organization health. Well, as the name suggests, what are nonprofit organizations? They are built to serve people rather than making profit. Across US, there are around 1.8 million such organizations which make annually around $3 trillion revenue. Well, this is just an economical part of it. The more impact they play comes beyond the economical part. Their main aim is to address the unmet societal needs and uplift the communities which have been overlooked. There are some technical issues. The Nonprofit Center. Nonprofit Center plays a major role in supporting over 250 local nonprofit organizations across Northeast Florida. Their main aim is to connect, advocate, and strengthen nonprofit organizations by providing them suitable services and also tools by making them enabling access to certain peer groups among those organizations. This makes the nonprofit organization to use their service and increase their capability and better serve their communities. Well, as you know, what is a nonprofit organization as of now? When this organization perform well, they help the society in every manner, rather from schooling, housing, till healthcare, which leads a good foundation for a strong and good society. But when this organization began to struggle, there is a lot of variation. Well, you may not notice immediately their effect in finance or their drop on service, but there is an immediate effect on human life and the standard of living. This is where our wicked problem comes up. We want to analyze the early sign indicators of the struggling organizations so that the appropriate action can be taken on time so that a delivery of service is not compromised. To do this problem, we turned on to one of the most consistent and comprehensive data source, which is IRS. IRS provides 990 full form to nonprofit organization who makes revenue over $200,000. This form has 12 parts, which is combination of both non-finance and finance sections, but unfortunately, we have only access to 6 of those parts, which is highlighted here in green color. As I said earlier, our data source comes from IRS, but IRS has a vast data. It has non-profit organization data across US. Working with the nonprofit center, we focused only on 7 counties, which are in Northeast Florida. And our final data set, after filtering this huge data set to only Northeast Florida counties, has 1,200 unique organizations. Well, there is no surprise in it. Majority of them are from dual. Since we have taken data of 5 years from 2019 till 2023, we summed up records to 5,000. We have more than 5,000 records and 300 features. That is the surprising part. 300 features, which gives you an in-detail explanation of each of those organizations. Our process involves 5 key steps, where first we prepare the data, and then we split the data to finance and non-finance section, and then we analyze and select the relevant features from each of those sections. And finally, we ran clustering using those combined features, which helped us to derive patterns across those organizations, which share some common characteristics. Well, you have the data, you have the problem, everything else. The typical way to approach this problem is just analyze the non-financial data, just see revenue, just see the expense, come up with a solution. This is what most of the common people do, and this is a typical basic approach. But we wanted to approach it in a different way. So we picked up those ignored, overlooked, non-financial variables first, and then we found out a governance patterns among those organizations just by using non-finance variables, which meant a lot. And then we added our finance variables to those non-finance variables, which helped us to get a more insights regarding those organizations. This process was not easy. We have to deal with a lot of skewed data, imbalanced data set, and a lot more. I can give a lot of examples, but we are running out of time. Okay. As I said, we just have only 6 parts, what we have access to. Out of those 6 parts, 3 of the parts were non-finance variables. Those 3 non-finance sections have 100+ non-finance variables. We can't keep all of them to our clustering models. If we can give it to our model, all those 100 variables, it will overfit. That does not make sense. So what we did is we grouped those 100 variables based on their similarity and filtered those groups based on their low support variance. And then we applied some correlation techniques and some feature engineering. And finally, we narrowed it down to 9 variables which are very relevant so that organization can be distinguished distinguishable easily using our model. When I say this 9 key variables, it has, just to give an overview, whether an organization does an audit or not, the number of employees they have, the number of contractors who are getting paid more than 100K, and so on. So these 9 variables will be carry forwarded and will be combined with our finance part as well. Now I'm going to invite Lisk to take up the finance part, and also he has some amazing dashboards to showcase.
Thank you. So let's get into the financial data and some of the challenges we faced. The first main challenge was missing values. Now, even though we had over 100 financial columns, only 10 columns had at least 90% of their data. This is likely due to organizations filing their general, revenue, and expenses, and then ignoring the specified fields. The second big challenge we faced was heavy skew in the data. Now, due to high variation in nonprofit finances, there was lots of skew in our features, and we solved this by turning the continuous features into discrete ranges that still captured the overall variance. Now, these discrete features were used for our K-modes clustering, but first, let's talk about the final financial engineered features that we came up with. Now, I won't go over all of these, I'll just go over a couple. let's start with liquid unrestricted net assets, or commonly called LUNA. Now, this measures the liquid assets that an organization has, and it's commonly used as an indicator of short-term financial health and resilience. Additionally, revenue volatility measures how stable an organization's revenue is year to year. So, let's go into what is clustering. Well, clustering is an unsupervised machine learning technique that groups data points into subsets, commonly called clusters, where points within a cluster are more similar to each other than points outside of that cluster. Why did we choose it? Well, our data has no labels. So we use something unsupervised like clustering, which allows us to group our data points into clusters and profile them to gain some insights. So we took our financial features, we took our non-financial features, and we fed it into the K-modes clustering algorithm, and here are our results. First cluster, conventional and stable. They had high cash reserves, decently stable revenue, and are organizations of normal size. Second, preserving and relentless. Now, this cluster had declining asset growth, volatile revenue, and had very low liquid assets. Now we have growth-oriented. Organizations in this cluster had high net asset growth with a strong presence of cash. Finally, we have our compliant operators. Now, these organizations are the big players. Lots of revenue and expenses. They're large organizations, many of them filing for an audit or with contractors above 100K. But organizations in this cluster actually did have very negative liquid assets. So now we'll go into a Tableau dashboard to visualize some of these clusters. So here, let's just pay attention to the bar graph, which is simply an account of the organizations in each cluster. It's quite uniform. However, let's look at the organizations that filed for an audit only. Look at that difference. We have the compliant operators with a domination over filing an audit, while also the growth-oriented and conventional and stable clusters in the middle, while our preserving and relentless clusters all the way at the bottom. So let's undo that filter. And now let's look at our second graph, which is revenue and expenses. So as we can see, those compliant operators are way up top. They're big spenders, they have lots of revenue, lots of expenses. However, if we look towards the bottom, we have the preserving and relentless and the conventional and stable clusters are around the same in terms of revenue and expenses. However, if you see, since the preserving and relentless circle is blue, it is actually the only cluster that had more expenses than revenue. But these two clusters were similar in expenses and revenue and size, so we're going to go to the next dashboard to visualize between them. So we have a scatter plot here, and let's check only the preserving and stable clusters. Okay, so this scatter plot shows on the x-axis revenue volatility, and on the y-axis their days of cash on hand. So as we can see, the revenue volatility is pretty close. However, there is some more skew on our preserving and relentless cluster, so they have slightly more unstable revenue. However, the biggest difference here is the cash. Look at the purple dots, which is our stable cluster. They have a lot more cash, and it's a big separation there. So now let's check all clusters again, and let's look at this nice line graph, which is just showing liquid assets and year. Well, as we can see, there's something interesting here from 2020 to 2021. That's a little something I'm sure most of you know called COVID. So as we can see, though, there's a big bounce back from 2021 in liquid assets. So there was that growth after. However, if we check just the preserving and relentless cluster, here's their line graph. It is the only cluster that actually has declining liquid assets from 2022 to 2023. So if we go and just check through a couple of the others, we'll see that after that COVID, they're still growing and growing, while our preserving and relentless cluster declined from 2022 to 2023. So these are some insights, and now let's go back to the presentation. All right, so let's talk about some key findings and actionable items. First key finding, the preserving and relentless cluster is of highest priority and requires some attention. Secondly, IRS Form 990 filing practices need to be improved. As I mentioned earlier, many organizations are filing just a few of their general fields while ignoring the rest. Third, Luna, cash on hand, and revenue volatility are playing crucial roles in identifying the health of a nonprofit organization. Now, let's go over some actionable items. So, we want to rely on the growth-oriented and compliance operators, which we profiled to be healthier clusters, so we can get some organizations from these clusters to help some of the ones that are in need. Secondly, the nonprofit center can start trying to gather number of employees and volunteer info. So currently, in the 990 form, they only have to put down full-time employees, no part-time employees, and no volunteers. This resulted in our employee column, over 80% of the rows had 0 for the employees. So if Nonprofit Center could gather that data, that would be help improve some insights. So finally, some nonprofits should consider auditing their finances, and this is something Nonprofit Center can maybe help with by encouraging these organizations to audit their finances. So Nonprofit Center and thousands of nonprofit organizations are working together to make an impact on our community. With these insights, we can focus on organizations and help them where they need it most. The nonprofit sector and our society and community, if we work together, it can continue to grow and thrive. Thank you. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Umapati back on stage.
Again, let's give one more big round of applause for them. Yeah. Before we get into the next stage where our company partners will reflect, so the LISC Jax project actually was done within 6 weeks. Because the funding limit-wise, we had to spend it before June 30. We had to spend it in the previous academic year itself. So we did it in 6 weeks, so they were able to do that. And the rest of those 2 projects was done in 11 weeks. So, but the LISC team, we have to pull them back, and we have to coach and train for them to present for today. So, and every other project was very challenging, and again, they went through a lot to get here. So again, congrats to all of them. So, but now we have shown the insights. Now we want to know those who gave us the problem, what do they think? Right, so first John and Lucy and Allison is going to reflect. So these are individuals going to reflect. What they're going to reflect on, right, is 3 questions. So the essence of the question is, now we've seen the findings, but which of those findings is important for them? Now, given that finding, what exactly is the impact? And then given that impact, what's their next steps, right? Pretty much that's the basic questions you're going to answer. So John, you could come and you can answer these questions first.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be at LISC Jacksonville and to work with the team at UNF. And I would say our big reveal from our perspective, given the fact that we are the ecosystem manager for our housing preservation strategy, which includes heirs property, property tax relief, and also associated home repairs, in the heirs property space, Jacksonville has over 12,000 heirs properties, the most in the Southeast. So that seems like a very challenging, almost impossible, wicked problem. And so what is so fantastic is the great wealth transfer of assets. Those homes are going to go to someone. And so what we don't want them to do is to go to investors that take advantage of the heirs property issues or property tax issues. So really to focus the research on women as owners of properties or those who are most likely to need estate planning help and help with property tax exemptions to keep their property taxes low. That's a really important thing to focus on. We can focus our community outreach on women's networks that we're aware of in the faith community, and sororities, other types of women's networks that we can really focus on our educational outreach on. And so what that does is it allows us to really increase the uptake of our educational and outreach programs, because we can go out to hundreds of organizations and have lots of meetings, but it's really about uptaking with heirs property legal referrals and going to the property appraiser and gets the exemptions. It's so important. And so that impact is going to really bring hope to residents. It's amazing to be part of the process where we go into a community organization and a neighborhood network, and it's hopeful when we can provide targeted impact based on this data to really help people who can understand and relate to the problem that we're presenting to them. And so, and also funders like the data-informed programs and the hopefulness that this brings. We have government and non-government support for this work. And so it's so important to be able to target. And what that does is that once you get success stories, it builds on itself, and people can then spread the word amongst their family and friend network. And finally, as far as the next steps for our organization, we are going to continue to use UNF interns, also from Jacksonville University and the University of Florida, to really ground test a lot of this data. So interns and their professors can go door to door and help with really understanding the validity of this data, which is very high actually, and to improve the uptake. So I think Lisk is really an intermediary for lots of different assets, not only our leadership assets into neighborhood organizations, but also funding assets. So we want to be able to target those assets in the most effective way. So the data is really, really effective in doing this. So thank you for also making data for social good. That's really, really important, and it's very gratifying to work in that field. So I encourage you to continue, students. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lucy Chen from Cathedral Arts Project. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Dan and also Karthik, and a round of applause to the incredible interns for doing an amazing job this year. I believe this is my 4th time being on the stage, and every year I say, wow, we have the best interns. And then I say the same thing the following year, and then the year again, and I think this year, we really have the best interns. So for the past 6 years, in partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts and Duval County Public Schools, CAP has administered the LEAD survey, and it's simply to understand the arts access in our schools. And many thanks to the team at DSSG. This work has been featured nationally by the Americans for the Arts and the Kennedy Center. And school districts from as far as Portland and also from Texas have called us and asked, so what is your secret sauce? Well, I think we all learned a little bit about the secret sauce here at the big reveal, which is to have a very dedicated and committed community to support arts education. So what will be the impact of this project? So every year, we turn data into action. So the first year, we learned that arts field trips were beneficial to help with students' academic learning. So we linked arms with cultural institutions and also with Kids Hope Alliance, and we launched one field trip, bringing students to the Florida Theater. It was a great success, and for many of the students, it was their first time crossing the bridge to the other side of Jacksonville. Us here, we would be complaining about the traffic, but for the kids, that brought them a lot of joy. Second year, we said, you know what? We can make this bigger and better. So we teamed up with 8 different cultural sites here in Jacksonville and linked arms with our business partners, and we brought thousands of students on arts field trips. But what's most memorable are the students with disabilities. It was the first time for wheelchair-bound students to be so close to the St. Johns River. And what did we do last year? I have to look at my notes. We launched the Principal of the Arts Award, and that is to bring public awareness to the impact of arts education. So what are the next steps for our organization? We talked about bringing data into action, but why is arts education so important? So I have to share one little story. Every member at CAP, we always visit a class. So I was standing at the parking lot and looking at the interaction between a child and his dad. And the kid was very excited, running out to his dad, who was busy typing away on his phone. And he said, "Dad, I'm going to perform at the Times Union Center. That's part of the CAP program." And the father went, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And the child exclaimed, "I'm going to perform on stage with my friends at the Times Union Center, Dad." And this is the response from the dad. The dad looked at the child, head to toe, back to head again, and said, "Dang." And then he said again, "Dang." It's these little moments that really can't be translated into a grade, or you might see it a few years later, but it's confidence, it boosts academic learning, and it's these little things that will have a measurable impact on the students' lives. So we will continue to turn data into action, and once again, many thanks to the team at UNF.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Allison Owenby, and I'm the Director of Research and Evaluation at the Nonprofit Center. And I might disagree with Lucy because I think our interns were the best, but we can have that conversation later. I started this role about 1 year ago, and one of the first events that I attended was this one, and I said, wow. I was so impressed by the work that DSSG was able to do over the course of one summer that I said, sign me up. I already had a million ideas coming into this role for how we could make data come alive and not stay on a single sheet of paper or a report. The State of the Sector report is something that the Nonprofit Center has published for over 20 years and has become an important resource to our community. But I am not someone who likes to remain at the status quo. And I proposed the idea to partner with the DSSG team to take it to the next level, to produce those health indicators that were presented today. And I was blown away by the amount of insight that the team was able to gather by using the same set of data that we've looked at for many, many years. This project is going to influence how our organization approaches our work over the next few years. The Nonprofit Center recently concluded a strategy session where we're influencing and changing the way the Nonprofit Center is going to operate in the future. And my question to this team was, how can we use data to drive those new programs that we're going to roll out? A potential shared back office program, mergers and acquisitions encouragement for the nonprofit organizations. And this team rose to the occasion by taking the data and producing clustering that will allow us to focus our efforts on organizations that could most benefit from those type of services. So those are our next steps. I can't wait to dig into the data that these students have been able to produce, to be able to access the dashboards and use the data and implement data-driven programs. So thank you so much.
Okay, so we're going to get into the next stage, Q&A. We'd like volunteers to come and help them how to put the chairs in. So those who have questions, please keep your hand up. Me or one of our volunteers will come and give you the mic. Then after they give you the mic, please ask the questions. So please note that we are recording it and it's also getting live streamed. And those who are watching us via YouTube, sadly we are not moderating it. If you are typing your questions there, we are not going to ask it because we are not looking at it. So you can't ask questions if you are watching our live stream. But only those who are in here can ask questions. So all the interns will join, and all the community partners will join once the chair setup is ready. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Shah to moderate the question. Again, reminder, if you have a question, keep your hand up, and we'll get the mic to you. Why did you take this? I left it near me. Yes, go ahead. You can guys jump.
Go ahead, Art. Anywhere. Anywhere. Yes, they're sitting behind you. So you all might have some burning questions for our community partners and for our interns. So as you kind of think about those and think about the insights that they shared, you can raise your hand and the volunteers out there will come and give you the mic. I like to get us started on questions, and so this question is actually for the interns. We've been talking about big reveal for our community partners and impacts for our community partners, and I want to ask the interns, like, what's the big reveal? What's the big insight that you all got from this internship and from the projects that you did? And who wants to go first? Yeah.
When I was working with a piece of data, that is homeowner names. When I was working with that, there were few names which are not names. Then we identified that and we started splitting the names into first name, middle name, and last name. That was not a wow moment, but that's okay, we have to work on this moment. Yeah.
So for me, after working with this project, I come to learn that a lot of people don't know that they are at risk. Their houses are at risk. And I really appreciate Lisk approach to help them that they are at risk and you can save your home, you have still times, and we are going to help you with that. And I really appreciate that, and that was a big reveal for me. Thank you.
Yeah, when I was working on this project, starting was I don't know the data and I don't know the anything, and I am trying to do something as to how to classify the data like that. But at the end, we did not did any classification on it or anything. Just we have prepared the data. From that, we have done the Tableau visualization. That's it. We have done nothing using machine learning and anything. But before of that, I thought that we have to do something machine learning thing or like that. That's it. Thank you.
So the big reveal for me came from one of the lead survey questions, and it asks about how many physical spaces do you dedicate to the arts? One of the insights we found that we didn't have the time to fully explore and list here at the big reveal was how they affected middle and high schools. We saw an increase in achievement with schools that had a higher amount of physical spaces, but to me what was more interesting was we also saw a decrease in the amount of behavioral incidents students had based on these physical spaces. So that's something I think is worth investigating further and was really interesting.
Well, for me, I've learned a lot while taking up this internship. The way I think of a problem in data science, as well as approaching a problem, has changed. Just to give an example, in our university program, if you have a missing values in your data, just drop those or replace those with some mean, median, mode, and all those techniques. But here, a special mention to Professor Karthik, he just says why the data is missing and why do you need to impute them. That's a really good question. Nobody teaches you in university. So the way of thinking for a data science and the way of thinking for approaching a problem has changed a lot. This is the biggest takeaway for me from this internship.
Yeah, I think one big takeaway is I had always heard everyone say, you know what, in the data science world, model building takes so little time compared to your data cleaning and pre-processing, but it really is crazy how true that is when, we had spent 9 weeks preparing this data without any model building yet. But then once you get the clean and good data, then you can feed it into the model very quickly and get your results. So, it was very insightful to learn that. So, yeah.
So for me, from the very beginning till end, it was mesmerizing. Like I already have worked with data from field level in my country. So I just wanted to see how here in US they work with the field level data. So I was amazed to see how they work with this data and how they collect, how they reorganize them. So it was a learning structure for me.
For me, I have previously worked in corporate type of institutes, and where my work was reflected in terms of finance or customer satisfaction and others. But during this internship, I am proud to say this, that I can see my work getting impacted in the community, and it has so many stories connected, how CAP has helped students with different arts programs, and this is something which I will carry throughout my life as a wonderful experience and can proudly say that I have completed and used my knowledge to create a difference in this world. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to echo again what a great job you all did. I am an alumni from last year's program, and so one question that I have for all of you is, obviously you knew what you were getting into when you applied for the program, in the name, data science for social good. But how, and this is kind of a follow-up to our last speaker on the stage, how has this changed your perspective on using data science moving forward? I know that data science as a field is really geared towards using it to make money. How do we do stock analyses? How do we get a better portfolio? How do we design the next AI that's going to get, a startup fund or whatever? So I'm really curious if working on these projects has changed how you thought about data science and maybe any of your plans moving forward.
I can start. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. And to be honest, just the feeling of getting the results felt so satisfying, because you're knowing that these results can actually go and make an impact on people's lives. And before this internship, all my experience had actually come from working in finance. And doing this, getting those results, you just had a special feeling about it, and it's been an awesome experience. and I'm really excited to finish writing the full report to deliver to Nonprofit Center to see how these results can actually change the community.
You see, the data science is growing and it has been applied in all sectors. What my assumption is, everybody in their particular sector, they go through an assumption, but they need a result or a data to support that assumption to make it data-driven. So data science gives you those assumptions using the data. We can use predict, classify, or anything, which helps them to drive their assumption into a data with stable understanding of the results.
One of my biggest takeaways about data science is to actually check your assumptions. I probably heard that told to me by Drs. Richard and Pneumopathy 20 times throughout the internship. Check your assumptions. Why are you assuming this? And it's for a good reason. Coming into this, I'm interested in looking at school research, and so I came into the fight with a lot of assumptions. But really checking those helped reel me back in and make a more grounded project.
For me, it is like, while we are in the first week, we have stuck in the one place and we are unable to go front in our project. So in the meanwhile, we have to spread our project, means we have to explain to the others, meanwhile, to get the some kind of help with the others. Why? Because we don't know anything, what to go to the next step. Then our mentors given a clear guidance that in the voter registration data, it contains some kind of data, so you can move forward with this, like this. Thank you.
So I was always connected with the academia, like teaching and everything. So then it comes to my mind that all the equations we are making, all the research we are doing, they are all of them are used in the industry level, right? So then I think, okay, let's see what they are actually doing with our equations. So that's why I was looking into this internship, and they were on campus and it was easy to access. So I applied and I worked with that, and I really acknowledged their work and everything, that how they are improving the real life problems and the solutions. So data science for me is a big way to see how the real life problems are solved through the equations or the methods we learn through our books. So yeah, that was my turn on point to come to the data science, and thanks for DSSG for that.
So for me, getting into data science is, I have prior work experience in data, and whenever I work with data, I feel like whenever we get into a project, it's like we are just getting into the project. But in the second week and third week, we will really get into the project by understanding the data, which will really bring us interesting identifications and recommendations. So this is where I feel data science is a field which is more attracting me to work with data. Thank you.
So for me, this was like stepping into the non-supervised learning procedure. Like till now, the work that I have done, it was supervised machine learning. I have already known the output, what is going to happen, what we can predict. But in this project, we learned that we do not know about something that is coming on. So we need to find out them. We need to find out our motive, our goal from the scratch. So this was very interesting, and this, like, we have now, we are open to world, like we have access to AI and other stuffs. So in this project, I learned that I need to know in the which direction I am going. Otherwise, they can make me like confused. They can give me any solution that I don't want. But if I fall in their trap, then I'll be lost. So this project make me to know where should I go and how should I focus.
Thank you for the question. And one thing which changed after this internship, my perspective about data science was we have big amount of data, we clean it, we use some algorithms, and then we predict something. And here, the complete idea is different. We have a limited number of data because the data was collected at school level. It was a survey response. And I was like, wow, I can't work with 200 records. Well, this is not enough data. And, it's a survey, so many a times there is a lot of missing data, and I was like, wow, we can't work with such limited data, and we can't even remove the records because it is coming from a school. You can't remove a school directly without any reason. So a lot of efforts were taken into dealing with missing data, dealing with duplicate records, and making sense out of limited data and coming up with statistically backed results. So this was a change in my perspective to look at data science problems.
I want to follow up on that. I want to follow up on that. Ayman was like, oh, we have this missing data. We just need to drop these records, right? And I was like, if you knew how much effort it took to get those principals to complete that survey, you would not be wanting to delete this record.
So I wanted to follow up with a comment and to thank you guys, to thank everybody, because being a part of this, I'm Dr. Tadeo, I'm one of the lead advisors. And every year that I've been a part of the DSSG, I have learned something new and fascinating from you guys and from the community partners, the things that I learn. But I wanted also to give you a call to action. There's something that one of the interns just said about the arts programs. And having been a part of the Cathedral Arts programs, watching it evolve over these past several years, I'd like a call to action to Dr. Lehman at UNF and the mayor's office to help support that, because those students, arts helps develop their creativity, their critical thinking skills, and their emotional and social development, which are things I think we overlook because we don't have any tangible metrics for those. So I highly encourage you guys to connect, and we've got Mocha downtown, and do clay spaces and focus on those things, because I think it's very important. So thank you, Dr. Chen. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, Dr. Chen, if you want to share, reflect to that, you can go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for your championship of the arts. And I do agree that the arts have a tremendous impact on every child's growth and development, and I think that is why we're here doing this project. But what has been most insightful, again, is seeing the data pieces connect and to continue to link arms with all those who are interested in advocating for arts education to ensure that students have field trips and programs and quality community partnership. There are so many programs in addition to CAP that can be in service to all of the students here in Jacksonville.
Yes, thank you all for coming out, and thanks to our interns, our community partners. We'd like to invite Dr. Lamayam, our president, to come and give some closing remarks for our evening.
Thank you, Dan. I think I can stay here. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, with the... All right. This will be my workout then. Good evening. I know it's getting a little bit late, but we built a model that says the rainstorm is here for 3 more hours, so we're going to keep you for just 3 more hours. But in all seriousness, really happy to be here. This initiative, this event is really close to my heart. 3 years ago, maybe if you were here, that was exactly my 2nd year on the job. So this was the very first event I attended as the president of this wonderful university. And also, it always coincides with my wedding anniversary. So you see there, yes. I really want to thank all of you for being here despite the weather. Our community partners, thank you. Thank you for trusting our students. For the sponsors, again, thank you for helping make this incredible initiatives and event a reality. Also for the students, our two friends from the community partners were debating which students are better. I can tell you, all of them are the best. Would you agree? Let's give them a big round of applause. Also, all the advisors, board members, thank you. Thank you for your help. But I think this program would not have been possible without two great colleagues, Patrick and Dan. Really, thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause. I also learned a lot from hearing, as you talk about the arts. We're investing a lot in the arts at UNF. We're creating Art UNF. We have MoCA downtown, and the results really gives me the ammunitions to continue also investing in the arts. So that's really important for us. All the projects are really important. Also, I was amazed on one of the projects that's done in only a few weeks just because of the limited budget. So I learned something. If I want a project to get done at UNF, I will limit the funding, and things happen. But in all seriousness, the main reasons also I love this initiatives, and I'm really committed, and we're going to work with Dan and Kathy and all of you to change. I'm competitive. I don't like the third longest serving initiatives. We want to be number one, right? That's what we are here in Jacksonville. That's what UNF is all about. But if you think about the vision that we have for these great universities, our strategic priorities, this initiative checks almost each one of them. Let's talk about student success. This experiential learning is really important. Research and data shows that students with this experiential learning experience like we've seen today, 90% to 93% of them will have jobs at graduation or shortly after with competitive salary. This initiative really helps doing this. It helps with student success tremendously. And as you saw, some of these students are looking for jobs. So if you can help us make the data even better, please hire them. You won't regret it. Also, one of our strategic priorities at UNF is to be a great resource for our community. To really help, if you look at every single city or great community, there's always a public university, strong public university in its backyard that is making a difference. And that's what this program is really helping us to provide the resources, the intellect for our partners so that they all prosper and use the data for actions and be better. So again, this is an incredible initiatives. Thank you so much for being here. I promise you, it will be the longest serving. We have plans with Kathy and Dan to really expand it more. Now everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, so add the artificial intelligence component to these projects so that we can serve more organizations and make our community better. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we are at the final stages to conclude this event. Okay, there you go. So yeah, so one of the other bigger University of President have initiated is the digital batching. So for those who don't know, the students who have learned a specific skill, they receive digital badge. So those who are completing DSSG internship will get their DSSG badge. Right? So in that sense, they completed all the project, did the presentations, and then again finalize the solutions, which will soon give out to the partners. Another important thing is the report, written report they have to give, which most likely will happen from them in middle of August. And then they will be receiving the badge in September. So hopefully if you're an industry member, do look for badges. If a student has some specific badge, that means they have kind of coached and learned a very specific skill. And again, if you're industry members looking to work with the UNF, want to create a specific badge based on techniques you use, please reach out to UNF. We'll work with you. So with that, so few other things if technology collaborates with us. So, whoops. Yeah, Dan, could you go and click on? Yeah, the battery power is good, but again, this is it's all the way back, so it still there's a long range clicker, but still not necessarily working. So yeah, our plugin to requester support. So fundraising has become difficult. So without support, yeah, we can't do the events and the different programs we do. So we again take the support from you through your time as well as the money. Please reach out to us. So other final thing, so this is a technology when we are School of Computing, we do a lot of technology thing. Last year, we kind of formed together to form, all the different technology leaders came together to form this Tech Fest, which is last week of August is celebrated as a technology week. So last year, DSSG kick-started the Tech Fest by Mayor Office coming in here. But this year, since we kind of changed our timeline, we are not kickstarting Tech First, but I still want to share this information about it. So again, all week, different events will happen, and I'm not going to go over it, but you can see the Gov Day is the government day, so that means city office is going to present few things, and in the Disrupt IT, there will be a separate education track where different people from UNF will be presenting different related AI in education aspects. And then you see there is a giveaway act, which is we kind of involved with it. Tech Coach thing also happens at UNF University Center, and you see the AI Tech Talk and the summer social thing that happens towards the end. So I would just want to talk a few things about giveaway act. Again, this is one of the new things we are doing where we're collaborating with NLP Logic and their King Tides Foundation and several other organizations. It's going to be a week-long thing where professionals and students will work together and work on problems from nonprofit center, and AWS will be providing the tech stack for it. So again, those who are working professionals, you like solving social issues, please, we'll hopefully see you at the last week of August. So with that, thank you, everyone. So we conclude this event. So we're going to do a quick group picture. So all of those involved with community partners and any mentors, anyone associated with UNF can come to the stage. I will request few volunteers to come down and remove the chairs off the stage so that we can do a big group pictures. Thank you.